Wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ NV, Jess Hilarious, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. We got some special legends in the building
Yes,
today.
indeed. Yes,
we got the brother Common and the brother Pete Rock. Welcome.
Yes.
Good
Peace,
morning.
peace.
How y'all feeling, man?
Man, this
Y'all got breakfast here?
Nah. I wish. Some mornings.
Yo, this is a beautiful day, man, for us to like have a new album and just be together creating music, man. I ain't gonna front. I was last night. I was just like taking things in, like, man, it's been some years of making music, ups and downs, and to be here, like, just releasing new music. And the fact that some people, niggas see me on the street, like, yo, when that new P-Rock joint coming out or that, I ain't had that in a long time, so I ain't gonna front. I'm feeling like just blessed and on a high, man, just a spiritual high.
You be on the street, and this is how hip-hop Common is. If you try to battle Common in anything on the street, it don't matter if it's dancing, if it's rapping, if it's graffiti, he is to the full. And
He participates.
he participates, and age don't matter. He be spinning on his back. I'm like, I know his back hurt after that. I know his back got hurt.
Hey, Envy, yo, my team be tripping because we was in a prison, man. We was, doing some prison work, and this girl wanted to battle me in breakdancing, and her girl was like, yo, she could break dance, she gonna get you. I was like, okay. So she started doing her little pop locking. Man, I went down and did some windmills and ate her up. They was like, you ain't gonna let the girl in prison beat you, man. But I'm a competitor, man. I'm gonna win,
The new album is The Auditorium, Volume 1, produced entirely by Pete Rock.
Yeah.
Why is King's Theater the cover for this project?
Man, we wanted to, once we got the title, The Auditorium, we wanted a dope theater, a dope auditorium. We heard about different ones, and I looked at King's Theater. Somebody from my team sent it to me, Nicole, and I was like, yo, that's it. And I was like, man, are they gonna fit it within the budget? And for a second, I called my agent, Mary, who books my shows, and I was like, yo, can you help us to get King's Theater? She was like, I'm going there tomorrow. I'm gonna get it. I talked to them, and then I went up there, on my own, just went and knocked on the door like, hey, y'all, we want to shoot a cover, me and Pete Rock. And the security let me in and was like, talking to the person like, yo, Common is right here asking me, could I get, so it ended up, Charlamagne, it ended up being like, man, this was divine order because, when we was taking those pictures and it said King's Theater, I was like, this is dope. And it's, they've had like a lot of historic, it's in Brooklyn, they had a lot of historic performances, and Diana Ross reopened that spot, and actually, your wife lived around that area, so it was a lot of tie-ins. And even just shooting a cover, Pete and I was like, man, we ain't shot an album cover in a minute where you going through that experience of taking shots and just, it was dope, man. So salute to the King's Theater, yeah.
So how'd y'all get back together?
Yeah.
How did y'all decide to do an album? What was that conversation like? Where did y'all meet, your worlds meet and say, let's do this?
We've been wanting to do it since, we did the Ice Cube joint, and then we did the Soul Survivor album for Loud when I was signed to Loud, and he rapped on the joint with Nori and Pun, but I'm skipping a whole bunch. But we met in 1990, right?
Somewhere around the 90s, because I ain't come out to 92, so around
Mecca
in the early 90s.
Popping, and that's when I, started traveling, moving around, doing promo tours. Somehow we linked up when we met, and I ate his mom's cooking because he brought me to his crib, and it was history from there, bro.
Now, did you ever catch any static for producing bitching you?
Not really.
Okay.
Not really, but
Yo, but Pete was at the time, he was really one of the only producers that was open to doing it. Even my great brother No ID didn't want to get involved just because, it just was a lot going on. So, man, Pete was like, I'd been saying that rhyme out for a minute, and Pete and I reached out to Pete, and he was like, he took me out to Mount Vernon, and he said it was me and Black Thought. He said I was heated at the time, but
angry.
But then
he was angry. You answered the question.
I'm trying to calm him down, like you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was in a state where I just wanted to, man. I was like, damn, man, I got this much. I was ready to get back at it and get back at Cube. But it's all love now, so I ain't dwelling too deep into it. But I'll say that man, he gave me that beat, and I was like, yo, this is what I need for this song. And that was the first joint we ever did. he just went and made it in Rob O's basement, his guy's basement. Yeah. And I was like, man, this dude Pete came through for me. We've been brothers ever since. And this came about because, man, it was a lot. Like last year, I really like understood how important hip hop is and how like valuable people still, like how much people still value it. Like
what made you get to that point?
I think it was going to like all the hip hop celebrations, like going like
50th year.
The 50th year. I remember being in Yankee Stadium, and I performed at that show. It was Nas and Lauryn Hill, EPMD, Run DMC, man, Mobb Deep,
Fat Joe,
like it was. I stood in the crowd for like 5 hours. I never did that at a show. Stood in the crowd and just watched, and I was like, man, and saw like the Yankee Stadium going crazy over all these songs. Everybody from Ice Cube to Mobb Deep to Lil' Kim, and we all was enjoying it. And it made me, it reaffirmed that, man, this music is still valuable to people. And I was like, damn, you know, people are paying attention to the lyrics even more. Like, cause I've done music and people don't even know I put the music out, but when I get on to do a freestyle or something, or my homies hitting me up about, yo, you heard J. Cole on this, or you heard, you know, like, or, you know, of course, the battle with Kendrick and Drake, they like, yo, listen to these lyrics. To me, it just felt like hip-hop is alive in a new way right now. So, like, I'd always wanted to connect with Pete. I didn't know it would be a whole project. I said, yo, let's see what's up. You knew.
How did you know, Pete?
Because I was like, nah, we doing an album.
Yeah.
Straight up, Bogart, Bully. Like, yo, I was on my Bully with you.
Yeah, but he delivered on the
my God.
Production.
Your
Yes, he
production is so stellar and
Thank you,
it's
bro.
still so stellar. And I was wondering, did you have these beats in the stash, or did you make these purposely for Common in this project?
I had some in the stash and maybe made some recently, but they were all done. And then, you know, I just took a whole bunch and started sending it to him. Well, he came to the crib first.
Yeah.
And then, you know, he sat down and I started playing beats. He was like, yep, that one. And
yeah,
he
but
fast too.
But he also was sending me records too, like that.
Yeah,
and that's a process that, you know, I haven't been a part of in a minute, where like I'm sitting down and the producer is like got the record and he finding what he's about to sample. For me, Pete was sending these records and I was like, yo, that's it right there. You know, like loop that and to be a part of that process is like a creative thing. I feel like that's how you can come with a sound. And it was even bigger than just us, like just making music. To be honest, as soon as I got to Pete's crib, we started talking about life. You know, and that's something that's like in the process of being artists and creating together. It's like you need to be able to like be connect as human beings. Like and like, man, we was talking about therapy, life, you know,
Real
children, like, and it was just like, man, sometimes you just know when you're in the right place, you know. It's just energy is like, and that God intuition is one of the most like underrated things. And I was like, as soon as I was at his crib, I was like, okay, we gonna do an album, like, and I felt like we both would put our heart and souls into it. And I was noticing that his sound was fresh. It wasn't like,
didn't sound old, didn't sound dated.
No.
I just took what we did from back in the day and just kind of mixed it in with what's going on today, you know. And we want to rock with the youngins.
Yeah.
I was going to ask, you know, the celebration last year, the 50th celebration, it seemed like it made people respect hip hop again.
Yes.
And not just the newer artists, the older artists.
Yeah.
Because I'm seeing a lot of the OGs back on tour.
Yes.
And I'm seeing their shows sold out. People have you guys witnessed that?
Yes.
Bro, I was on that LL Force tour with the Roots for a second. And I did different cities, Cleveland, Chicago, Detroit. I'm like, yo, it's people here like coming in their outfits, like celebrating
fresh.
this music. Yeah. And LL's doing like songs that ain't even hits from his album, like 1-900 LL, and people rocking to it. That shit was dope. And that like all that was, I agree that we celebrated the culture. And what made me feel good was like we celebrated ourselves. We ain't have to like wait for somebody else to determine what this was. It was like, man, we celebrating ourselves. And it just, to me, we ain't know when we was, like when I first started rhyming, I ain't know like, damn, man, I could be rhyming. I'm 52 years old. You know, I'm rhyming. Like I still feel the love of what is that I have for this culture. And I didn't know when I was 19 rapping, I'm like, I was thinking like by the time I'm 30, man, I might not be able to do this.
Right.
But we just didn't have any blueprints of people who had evolved and grown in the industry to be able to find out how to exist. And in so many genres of music, they do it.
Right.
Like, I mean, I'm a big jazz head, and it's a jazz drummer named Roy Haynes that plays in his 90s. You know, and I feel like we now believe that hip hop you can be however old and just creating. If the music is good, young, old, I mean, just create great music.
I had a discussion with LL recently, and he said he had to learn how to rap again. So Common, do you ever feel like that with rap? And Pete, do you ever feel like that with production?
Yep, I feel like that. Well, I'm always at it, but you know, there's times where I don't want to make beats, and then but when I do feel it, it's in my fingers, and I'm ready to go. But you know, I have that feeling. I go through that sometimes.
Yeah, I've been through it. Like, and now honestly, that was one of the reasons that I started like getting into acting, was like because I started studying acting, but the reason I pursued it even more was because I didn't want to be making music when I ain't really feeling it. And I got to find another way to a creative outlet, but also another way to survive and get out there. So acting was one of those things. And it was times when I came back to rap, I'm like, what do I say? I remember I was talking to Tariq, to Black Thought, and he was like, nigga, you didn't put out albums, just rap. And it kind of reminded me, man, just MC. So like gradually I started getting better and getting better at my craft and going back to MCing and hearing other MCs, like that's always inspiring. That's always been the thing. When I heard Nas come out, I was like, oh, Biggie, or you know, you hear Ghost in these cats, you like, damn, I got a rhyme. Andre 3000. So
good, bro.
No, I mean, but I'm saying that at that time that was always it, and now I still enjoy that. Like when I'm hearing some Kendrick or Earl Sweatshirt, you know, I'm like, damn, I want to rhyme.
But you know what? You know the thing with LL. If you really think about LL, I call him one of the founding fathers, right? He was that early, and you would notice,
Of course.
the rhyme skills and
Was
the
different.
cadence was a lot different.
Yeah.
Right? It was more, I don't want to say elementary, but it was elementary sounding.
It was Dear
And then-
Yvette versus.
And then it changed with LL.
The 90s sound is more modern to even this era.
Yes.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
the 80s was, so LL had to teach himself how to do it a different way because he would have sounded in the 80s
same.
still. Yeah.
Yeah,
So the
the
fact that he had to do that and had the knowledge to say, look, I can't go like that means a lot.
That is.
Do y'all ever have to do that with the way you make beats? Because some of the kicks and the snares, when you hear them old records, you be like, damn, that sound old. Like, did you have to...
I don't like old. I like vintage.
Yeah, vintage. Okay.
You know what I mean?
Classic.
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 But anyway,
It sounds more classic.
to answer that, you know, I keep my ears tuned to everything, even if I don't like it. You know what I'm saying? I'm still listening. I'm like, okay, how could I incorporate what I do with this new way? You know what I'm saying? And I've been working on that, and then here we are. You know what I'm saying?
And then when I hear it, there's certain new artists that I want to hear on your production.
Yeah, man.
The Rhapsodies, the
Ty Dolla $ign, I like him.
Ty's dope, the Symbols, the La Russell, like Kendrick Cole. Like I'm like, that's what they need that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Man, that would be like to hear them dudes on that. You did something for Kendrick before, right?
Pimp a Butterfly.
But man, to hit them dudes like the Simbas and like you saying, like
Simba,
hit them
man.
on Pete's
Shout out to him, man. Simba.
beats, man.
Yeah,
I feel like that's the combination. But the one thing what you said, Envy, that I feel like I do hear sometimes is you can take a producer that has started in the 90s and you can hear they sound and it still sound like the 90s. The thing that I noticed was like, man, them snares and kicks feel fresh. Like it's it could be a break that I've heard before, but it's something about what he doing to that break and what he doing to that sample. Even the scratches, I was like, man, P, I don't know why, but these scratches feel fresh to me. It ain't like we've been heard scratches on records, but it was just, I guess, the rhythmic of it. I don't know what you've done sonically.
And sometimes I think of DJs like J-Rock, shout out to Beat Junkies and J-Rock, and had him scratch on
our
Stellar.
album. Yeah, for sure.
At the end.
Now, when you heard the Drake and Kendrick beef, right? Did that fuel you to be like, I want to get back into it? Because you was the type that they used to throw shots at you all the time. And you would throw shots back. It doesn't matter what it is.
Hey, that's what I do, bro.
So did you feel like, did it give you that feeling of, I want to jump back into this?
I
What did you think about
I
it?
ain't want to get in a battle because I was
Not
like
their battle,
their
but-
battle. But I was already enthused about writing just because I've been hearing like I said, like whether it was cats sending me J. Cole or freestyle or just, you know, the rhymes I was hearing, I'd be going back listening to stuff we like from Brand Nubian to, you know, to Tribe. I was listening to De La a lot. So I was in the spirit of like, man, I'm gonna write. And I'm gonna write. I'm referencing things in the rhymes that ain't like, I talk about stuff that some people might not know. And that's what we used to do in hip hop. But so when I heard the battle, I was more like, man, enthused and kind of like, well, it was to me one of the greatest battles that ever existed.
I think the greatest.
I might have to agree. I do feel like because I've been through some experiences and heard certain songs that mean so much to me that I probably ain't been able to give it up. It's like when people be like, LeBron or Jordan.
Right.
You know, it's like, because I grown up through Jordan, it's still, but I recognize that LeBron is right there. Chicagoans get mad at me for saying that, but LeBron is right there. Yeah. But that being said, I would say, if I'm just being purely true, I do think it was the best battle because of the back and forth that and the way they were delivering records and how great the records were. And I want to say as an MC, like that was a real battle. It wasn't like just as soon as it started, somebody had won. Drake was delivering and he was delivering. And then Kendrick just came and said, yo, I got this and delivered something, just two of the greatest, not only diss songs in hip hop to me, like Meet the Grams and Not Like Us are just classic songs. But Drake was not like just sitting down. He was fighting. It was a heavyweight fight. Yeah. And I saw something you said, Charlamagne, that was true. Like it was like, obviously, the people that are like, you know, that ended Drake. That really can't end the man. You know, like you said, that was just allow some people to maybe feel whatever they were feeling to say what they wanted to feel about him. But that man established a lot in his career, and people still gonna go out and see him. Just in this battle, Kendrick just prevailed, and brought the people together. So he just won.
That's the part.
Yeah. And this might be a dumb question, but did you really have the daydream or dreams that you described on Dreaming on the new album? Because they sound so vivid.
Yeah. Well, I actually, some of those dreams definitely happened, and that's one of the things that for me, like people come to me in my dreams, especially like people that have transitioned, have left and passed on. Like that's why I talk about my cousin Ajale, who died in a motorcycle accident in Brooklyn in 2009. Yeah, he come to Pete actually used to ride motorcycles with him, but God bless his soul. Like, and all these people, Dr. Maya Angelou, they have come to me in my dreams. But this, I was like, let me just be like, because I've been in the MC space, like I was like, let me be clever with it and talk about Prince and talk about these things and just play with the words of it, but also keep the spirit of like what dreaming is and when people come to visit you in your dreams.
Did y'all have a discussion about that? Is that what inspired it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I told him, Hev comes to me in my dreams. Troy comes to me in my dreams. You know, everyone I lost, from family members to friends, you know what I'm saying, they come to me.
Wow.
And I take that as a sign and that they're watching me and they got eyes on me.
Yeah, and I feel like, you know, the ancestors speak to us in different ways, and I definitely believe. And even though I don't even always remember all those dreams, I still like remember the visits. And then, you know, for me to talk about Nelson Mandela when prison couldn't break him, and you know, when Malcolm's talking about Assalamu Alaikum, he in the window saying Assalamu Alaikum, I'm thinking about that by all means necessary, by any means necessary picture where he was in the window. Yeah. Like all those things, man, I wanted to give it up for people who've inspired me. It was almost like a tribute to the ancestors, but in a good way. And not everybody was gone either. Like Yasin Bey, I'm talking. Yeah.
I have those same dreams. I just wonder, what are they trying to tell us? Or are they just letting us know, hey, there's something else after this, so move accordingly?
Yeah. I feel like
maybe.
I feel like they definitely are letting us know that it's something else that exists. It's deeper than just this human level. And my mother always be talking, man. She would say a prayer to me and be like, from the heavenly realms. So I feel like from the heavenly realms that our ancestors can come to us in our dreams. So, you know, that just may be one way they communicate, you know?
When you produce Troy, right, what was the mindset back then? Because usually people didn't do records like that. It was either hard records, it was club records, it was party records, it was street records. But you did a record as a reminisce, as a dedication record. What was the mind frame and what was the label's feeling of putting that record out of all? Because that's one of the most classic records out there.
Well, I'm gonna start off saying I was depressed. I was really depressed because we lost a block general too. He was like, he taught me how to fight, taught me this, taught me that. And so when we lost him, it was like, when we lost him, it was, the whole community was crazy. So I went, somehow found the strength to go dig through records, and I found this record and listened to the whole thing. And when I listened to the whole thing, I got emotional, start crying. And I said, that was a sign to say, yo, try to do something with this. You know what I'm saying? And so that's what I did. And I heard these elements in the song, and that drove me to make the beat, man. You know what I'm saying? And when I heard that sax,
you knew it was it.
That was it. I was like, no hook, no nothing, just rock that horn.
Did CL have that
lyrics already done?
Really? And he added Detroit?
All he did was like change a few things. But when I gave him the beat, he already had the lyrics, but he just changed a few things.
To come into the concept of Detroit. Wow.
How did you feel when you first heard that acronym? Like, that's like the reminisce over you.
Reminisce over you. That was real clever of CL for him to come up with that title. You know what I'm saying? That was crazy to spell out my man's name and have that title. It's just magic was happening for us, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, everything was coming together when we did that.
And did the label want that record out at first? Did they knew what it was? Because it was...
Yep, because when we finished it, Charlie Brown was in the studio, a couple other homies, and we listening to it, and we crying in tears. Like, this. Wow. I had to leave the room, bro, because the music was that touching.
That song still does that to people.
Yeah,
like people remember their parents, their grandparents, their loved ones. When that song comes out, as soon as you hear that, you're like, Jesus.
Like, what, 33 years old?
Yeah.
Right there.
And still being talked about and marveled at, and I'm grateful for it.
You know, we don't give you credit for a 2P Rock, man. Always putting dark-skinned brothers in a positive light. Chocolate Boy Wonder. Just that title is
Come on, bro.
You dark-skinned, you called yourself a Chocolate Boy Wonder at some point.
Yes.
Hey.
Common, you know what? I don't give you enough respect.
No,
the light-skinned, dark-skinned shit. Here we go.
You know what I'm saying? Why can't we just have women? Why can't we just have them
When they swing at you, you swing back.
I swing back, man. Ain't no problem here, man.
They fighting us,
Why
bro.
can't we just have women?
Charlamagne, no, man.
Why we can't live, bro? Can we live?
That shit through Charlamagne.
Who instilled that in you, though?
Heavy D was very talented in coming up with names. He gave CL Smooth his name. Gave me, well, his brother, my cousin Floyd, gave me Pete Rock. And he have taught me a lot about, like, bridges and songs, you know, like, just how to structure a song, a hit song. And then it stuck with me, you know what I'm saying? Because he was the first one to notice my talents. He was like, yo, you got something.
But he's saying,
need to bring that out.
AP, he's saying who instilled that black like black pride, like as a chocolate brother.
Confidence in your
for me?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, I had the talent. I thought I was decent looking as a black man.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Brother, all right.
I just rolled, man.
You already had it.
Yeah,
Well, we come from that era, though. We come from the black and proud era.
Yes,
You know?
Yes, sir.
Like, even when I listen to, On a God, you know, like you say that there's a God in the spirit of you. And I was like, damn, you know, growing up, we had the 5% teachings. We constantly heard that. And it felt good to hear it because we don't hear that no more.
Man, the more and more I understand why we greet each other as God. Like, in peace. And when we say peace, God, like I first received that just through hip hop because of the 5% Nation. And New Yorkers like brought that to us. And we was just saying it. And I liked it just because it felt good. But the more I understand how much God is in us, it's like it should be said. And we need to acknowledge that. And even, you know, you can look in the Bible and it talks about, you know, the God, that Christ being in you, you know, and you being Christ-like, or, you know, that ye are all God. So I'm like, when you start putting together a lot of thoughts about spirituality, almost all of them teach you that the Creator is in you too. Right. And you one with the Creator. So I love that I got that from hip hop and got even more of an understanding because I grew up going to church. So got even more understanding of what it is through, through putting that together. And now if I'm at church or if I'm around people who are like really like into just religion, I still can approach them and express to them the God in them, you know?
You got a line on that song. You say, my testimony came from all the testing.
Yes, sir.
Expound on that a little bit.
Man, I feel like anything that I'm really can talk about from a pure and like a place that resonates is because I've experienced some things in life. And I experienced things like we all do, but that human testing, that thing of going through things is what allows us to really connect. Right. And that's why I could tell a story. I didn't even know, like, when I first started rapping, I rapped about abortion in one of my songs early on. And this dude came up to me and was like, man, I decided to have my child because of your song Retrospect for Life with Lauryn Hill. And my point is, like, I was telling, that was my testimony and me telling what I had been through. And it affected him enough to make a decision with his wife to have a child. And I'm just saying, like, man, we got to go through things to have a testimony that really means something and resonates. And I ain't saying you go out there to try to suffer, but life gives you things, and it's the way we deal with it and overcome it and move through it, and what builds character that will allow us to be like, yo, when I'm sitting down with people, they listen because they know I've been through something, So that's the testimony.
Do y'all think people respect the legacies that you two guys have put out? Like, I look at other genres of music, right? And they respect the elder men, right? The young to the old, right? And I'm just remembering the best thing about it is I was such a young DJ that didn't know too many people. So I remember getting the Common Wax. Yeah. I remember getting the record that said remixed by Pete Rock. And I remember what that feeling meant. I remember when, no disrespect to Run DMC, where they fell off a little bit and then they did Down with the Kings and Pete Rock brought it back out. You know what I mean? I remember all of that. So do you think people understand the legacy that you guys have built and put into this game?
We would want them to understand because we put a lot of hard work into, because when I did Run DMC, you know what I'm saying, it was like, damn, how am I gonna bring these dudes back?
They were trying to come back. Nothing was hitting for them.
Yeah, and then I had to convince Russell and Lior and that I could do this. I'm the man for this. And then I had Jam Master Jay with me. He came to my crib. We worked on it and got what we got. So hopefully that's a story that they could listen to and learn from and understand the legacy of what we did to make it what it is today. And so
even the video, the video was one of the.
Everybody was in it.
It was one of the most cameo videos I've ever seen.
Yes, sir.
Everybody was in that damn video.
Easy E was in it.
Yo,
rest in peace. God rest his soul.
You know how that record worked because they weren't trying to be anything except for what they were at the time, which was kings of the game.
Yes,
forefathers of the game.
Yes.
You know,
I was in the clouds because I couldn't believe I just did this for them. You know what I'm saying? Like brought them back from what was the album? Back from Hell was the album that
was it Back from Hell?
Back from Hell.
Yeah, I think
but they weren't messing with each other at the time.
Yeah.
It was thinking. I just remember that.
Yes.
And who wrote that? I think did Jay write that for Run? Who wrote that? Somebody wrote it for Run.
What for Down with the King?
Yeah.
Oh, that's the album was Down with the King.
Yeah, that was Down with the King. But as far as writing, I have no idea.
So somebody wrote that for Run.
Yeah. But
I want to go back to Honor God because you got Jennifer Hudson on the record. How is it asking your lady for a feature, and does she charge you?
Well, let me say this. It was definitely, it kind of just came pure because I was playing the record. And I had the rhyme, and Peter sent me the beat, and I loved this beat. And I thought it was Aretha Franklin, a sample from Aretha Franklin. And I asked Pete, and he like, no, that ain't Aretha Franklin. And Jennifer heard it and was like, man, that is incredible. Like, that's, out of all the beats I was playing, she's like, that's my favorite right there. I was like, and it just, man, I was like, damn, this kind of give you that soul for Aretha. Jennifer played Aretha in a movie, and I could tell she was inspired by it. I was like, yo, I'm gonna get her to sing on it. But after I had the verses and the subject matter, I wanted PJ, who is an incredible artist and writer. PJ is super dope. She, she from North Carolina. It's just super dope. But I had her write the hook. And then also I was like, I want Jennifer to sing kind of what the sample is doing. And I was like, what's up? You want to do this? She was like, yes. Because she was excited to do it. And, ain't no charge. It'll be a fair exchange. I'll do something on her.
No points on the back end, nothing?
No points. It's all fair exchange.
I'll give
It's
you
all
something
love.
you could,
Yeah, it's all love.
I want to ask too. How do you deal with the criticism? Like you've dated women in the industry that were famous, and sometimes people go at them.
Yeah.
How do you deal with that, being their man, but you also know that this is the entertainment world?
Yeah, man, I try to do my best to, when I'm like in a relationship, a partnership that is with somebody public, which has happened. I just try to make sure we stay as sacred as possible with us, and like I try to make sure we build together and have our own like foundation, because once people start talking, it can distract you, it can get you off, it can discourage you. But if you got the foundation and know what y'all purpose to do, and that's, I guess, any relationship. But for me, that's what's been like dealing with the publicity of the stuff. Mm-hmm. And you feel something. If somebody attacking somebody you care about, you love, you're gonna defend them. You want to defend them. But I try not to get caught up too much into what people talking about the relationship, especially if it ain't true. And if it is true, that it wasn't supposed to be out there like that. So we got to resolve that within the house.
Like if somebody criticizes her show, for instance, right?
Yeah.
And then you got to do an interview. It's like,
Who is her? Common got a great roster.
Yeah. You talking about Jennifer?
I would never talk about it.
Okay, got you.
I'm going to go home and have an argument. I'm married. We like, come on. But like, so how do you deal with that? Because you might just want to say, you know what? I ain't like what he said. I'm going to talk to him later on. So how do you deal with that? But then you also know, like, this is the entertainment industry and I got to let it go. But people, I always say, sometimes people think Common is sweet, right? And I know Common ain't sweet. And I know every once in a while.
I've seen Common smack somebody. I tell the story all the time. I've seen it. I've seen him on stage rapping and then walked in the crowd, smacked somebody, and did not stop freestyling. Freestyling about smacking the dude. Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, House of Blues, with my own eyes.
Wow.
Hey, that was back there. Like we said, light-skinned niggas ain't just go back down.
So how do you deal with that part of it?
Nah, but for me, man, like when people criticize your work, man, you can't really take that too personal. Like I get criticized all the time. I done got called out for wearing crochets. You got to know who you are, and like if you put out, like I put out music, there's people like, man, what is this? Like, I can't take that personal, so I apply that with her. Like if somebody's talking about her show, they don't like the show, I understand. That's what they feel. But if somebody get and disrespect her space, that's a different thing. Right. Like just like it's different than criticizing on the work we do than it is like disrespecting the space of a person. So that's how I feel. But her show is doing excellent, bro. So I'm happy for her, and I'm grateful she on the album.
J Hud.
Yeah.
How do you feel when you look back at the Electric Circus time, Com? Because I think about, like, people ask the Locks about the shiny suit time.
Yeah.
Well, what do you look back when you look at the Electric Circus time? What do you think?
I think Electric Circus was like, it was a big step for my career in a way that, though people didn't receive it at that time, as an artist, you got to go places just out of courage and being truthful with where you are to have a career in a way. Because if I kept doing the same thing after a certain period, people are like, okay, this is the same thing. But because I've had like the ups and downs and it's not been always accepted or popular, I think people will understand that that's the ebbs and flows of life. And I look at, sometimes people come to me about that album and be like, man, that's my favorite album you did, or they feel, they'll be like, man, that album grew on me eventually. I remember Primo told me that, like, we was on tour with Gangstar. He was like, I ain't like that album, but when you started performing it, I was into it. And I feel like sometimes that's what art is. Everybody ain't gonna love it at one point. Yeah. I didn't like Jimi Hendrix. My cousin used to play him, and I'd be like, man, why you playing this? Don't be playing that. And then eventually, like, I'm working at Jimi Hendrix studio, I'm listening to Jimi Hendrix music, and I'm like, yo, this joint is amazing. See, he got some amazing music. So I feel like some people can grow into it. Some people will never like it. Amir Questlove hit me about a few years ago when they put it as one of the best like albums that was underrated and blah blah blah. Like, see, I told you. So you just gotta put the music out that you truly feel.
Well, I was talking more about the clothes because you bought up the crochet.
Oh yeah.
But was it the Queen Erykah Badu? We got her on the wall.
Yes,
was it her that had you dressing like that? Because I love when the internet, this new era finds old stuff, and that's what they say.
Well, see, this is the thing. Erykah is very influential, but not influential enough to say dress like this and I would do it. I'm a man like that. Like, I'm gonna put on what I like. Everybody might like ask they want when your lady be like, oh, you look good, you feel good about that. Yeah, but I am not going to my lady like, is this one right or that? I mean, I might ask that, but nobody's gonna say, yo, wear this, wear this, and she, you know, that's a powerful woman. She's amazing, incredible human being too, and just one of the greatest. But as far as dressing me, no, that never happened. That never happened.
Another record I love on the new album, The Auditorium, Chi-Town Do It.
Wow.
Are you talking about an actual woman, or is that a love letter to the city? Because in a way, the whole album feels like a love letter to Chicago. But on that particular song, is that a real woman or is it Chicago?
I mean, I'm actually going between a particular woman and just rhyming, and it is love to Chicago. I kind of felt like within the writing of it, I wanted to do all those things, and I'm glad you said that because it was the album for me does have the love letter to Chicago and a love letter to hip hop the way we love, and with Pete being from New York, me being from the Chi, I'm like, man, I gotta bring my Chicago
to Brooklyn.
Oh yeah, originally on that record he had sampled Biz saying Brooklyn, do it, Brooklyn, do it. I was like, Pete, I love Brooklyn. I love Brooklyn.
New York. I'm on my New York,
bro. You know, I live in Brooklyn, but nah, bro, I'm representing Chicago all day. So yeah, that is a love letter to Chicago, but also like I'm kind of referencing a woman, like you know, like she knew me from the city, knew I was witty, knew I had power and maybe some sense like 50. Yeah.
That's great.
How do you tap into that Chicago energy all these years later? Because, you know, you've been all over the world.
Yeah.
So how do you tap into that energy?
Man, you know, I used to like, because when I first moved from Chicago, I moved to New York, then I would be New York, LA, go home. I used to just go home, rent cars, and just go around and be with my homies, like, just let's sit down and watch the game. Let's go to this bar. Let's do it. Like, that's what I did in the early 2000s. Now in my life, I got so many things going on there. I got a school called Art in Motion in Chicago, which is an art school. And then I also had a Common Ground Foundation there, and we got something called Free to Dream. All those things are happening, but I'm gonna be real with you. Like, having a lady that's from Chicago allowed me to go home and just be home. Wow. Like, and I hadn't did that in a while, where I was just like going home and just being around my loved ones and didn't have no work to do. And that, man, I ain't gonna front, that helped me with this album, because just going to your roots, you gotta always recharge and replug and plug into them roots. No matter how much you've elevated, you still gotta go to them roots and just, I mean, to me, growth is about starting and growing from the roots. So me going back to Chicago all these times just for regular shit, it just helped me stay rooted in what I do and who I am. I'm referencing certain Chicago things, and I'm like, this is what I used to do. This is what I did on Resurrection. This is what I did. I wasn't trying to, like, because I seen the world, I was referencing other things, but to be able to go back home and reference things, we used to do that a lot in hip hop. That's how I knew what Queens was about, because what Nas was talking about. I knew what Brooklyn was about because what Jay and Biggie was talking about. Knew what Harlem was about because of Dipset and all them guys. So yeah, so I feel like that's what I wanted to give to Chicago again.
That sounds like you might get married, Com. For real. Like, that sounds like you building a real foundation.
I mean, listen, this is definitely, with all due respect to all the women I've dated, you know, because it's all love, but this is a really healthy and beautiful relationship, bro. And like, I'm just doing my best to keep God first and communicating, taking all the stuff I've learned as a human being, the failures I've had in relationships, on my responsibility. I'm taking that, learning from that, growing from it, using all the therapy, all the you know, understanding that, man, let me enjoy moments and also just life is about not trying, but creating happiness and creating joy and creating love and like embracing the grace that exists. So this is somebody, and it's something, man, you kind of, when you with somebody who's from where you from, it's a different kind of connection too. Yeah. That's something else. But I mean, she's from where I'm from spiritually. She's from where I'm from where we geographically come from, the Chi, and just from where I'm from as a person. Like one of the things that I felt was before we even started was together. We were doing this movie, and this security guard said to me, I came to the set. He was like, "Man, you and Jennifer Hudson, two of the coolest celebrities I ever met, man." I was like, "What, for real?" He's like, "Nah, y'all real cool." And he was like, "She just bought this ice cream for all these people here on the set." And I was like, man, I just like people to treat people good. Word. That's part of home too for me. So yeah, I mean, she there, bro.
You seem the happiest.
So you're saying you want to get married. That's what it sounds like to me.
I mean, if I'm going to get married, it's to her.
Wow.
That's simple as that.
And I see Pete Rock smiling every time you talk about her. He's smiling like he might know something we don't know.
I see him smiling. I don't know nothing. I just like it. I like to see them. You know what I'm saying? Together, it makes me feel good.
Talk to me about the three wise men that visited you on the record Wise Up.
Yeah.
Like, who do those three wise men represent?
Man, I was really, when I wrote that, I was thinking three wise men came to visit where I've been. They brought gifts with the South Side blend. Mm-hmm. I wanted these wise men to have like all the godly attributes that you would hear about. Three wise men.
Mm-hmm. And some Hennessy.
And some Hennessy. And some Hennessy. Exactly. I wanted them, like, because, I mean, I really was writing that because a lot of people that I've met that are some of the most enlightened and spiritual people are real niggas.
That's right.
And they real people, real men, real black, real women. Mm-hmm. And I was like, man, it's depth to these human beings. So I wanted the wise men to not be perfect. One of the things I feel like I'm heavy into like New Testament scripture. So like I don't read that and just be like, oh man, these people weren't human beings. And I wanted to bring the humanity to three wise men. Like these are people. He bringing me Hennessy and bringing the wisdom, and bringing the scrolls and telling me, yo, and that I said the third gave a mirror and told me to remember me. He's just telling me, yo, remember who you are. This mirror I'm giving you is so you can remember who you are. And I felt that was important for that, so I just made that Hennessy. I referenced Hennessy on another one. There's a guy with like, can I enter the gates of heaven smelling like Hennessy? So Hennessy might as well sponsor me or something.
Ivy, what's up? Ivy, make that happen. Ivy Rivera. Listen, Pete, you know, this is a very vintage, sounding album. Even the length of the records, right? And it's the verses and the
15
hook,
joints.
Verse, hook. Did either one of you ever think, maybe we should shorten the records to be like this new era? I'm glad y'all didn't, but did that ever cross your mind in the studio?
Oh, no. It's usually now, we noticed that it's like people when they making records is really only two verses. Now,
2 minute
when it's solo artists.
2 minute 50-second records.
Right,
Yeah.
but when it's a group, you may hear more than two verses. But our thing was just two verses, and you did three on This Man's Arms. Right?
Yeah, a couple joints.
Did three
Lonesome.
Verses, but now it's like that's what we did. We have a choice now to make two or three.
I think, man, in making songs, like you got to just go with the feeling. Yeah. Like James Brown, then was just boom. Them records was long. Fail out. And then some of them super hits from the Motown was like 2 minute records. Like when I'm writing verses, I'm like, this song don't need to be that long. So I kind of we approached it more than anything. I believe when we was making this album, we was like, let's make something that we really feel like, man, God in this music. Let's create. Let's just create and receive that. And then I ain't gonna front. I was like thinking about albums like Only Built for Cuban Links or thinking about like Midnight Marauders and Main Ingredient and Balloon Mind State, Paid in Full. Like I want albums, Illmatic, obviously, albums that I was like, let's make an album where people can listen to the whole album and it got a sound, and we hope that it can be classified as a new classic.
Well, hip hop defied all rules in music.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Expound on that, Pete.
Because James Brown said, like, there were rules to the music business, right? Or to music, or how to make music. and he mentioned like Beethoven and all them type of dudes, and he said he defied all of that because they were following the rules. He wasn't, and so in hip hop, I feel like we just doing what we want, what feels good to us. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's 2 verses, sometimes you'll hear 1 long verse and the record's over. You know what I'm saying? With a little bit of a hook, and it's free. This hip hop shit is like free.
I got a hip hop head record. C.O. Smooth and Pete Rock. Whatever happened to the group?
Just growing pains, man. We're 2 different people.
Y'all cool with each other now, or?
I can't say that, but
because
I wish them the best.
Anniversary, I never seen y'all perform together, and I always said, damn, that would be for 50-year anniversary. Yeah. Everybody coming back, I would like it would be amazing to see Troy on stage or the record straighten it out.
I feel the same way, but some things just can't happen. And it is what it is. It's not. It's just life, bro. You know what I'm saying?
I just got a couple more questions. You only got 1 rap feature on this project, and that's Pause Plug 1 from De La. Why is that?
Man, initially I was like, man, Peter, I don't want no features. I want to do like what Rakim and them did. Like like I said, Illmatic had 1 feature, but I was like, it didn't feel like I feel like we had created a sound. Well, I didn't want any features. I was like, this is a sound. Let's do what we do.
You could do it without anyone.
But what happened is that the song that Pasta Noose from De La Soul is on was featured, and he blessed the verse, man. And like, first of all, Dave from De La Soul, Tagoe had passed recently.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace. God bless his soul. Yeah. So they were kind of hovering, like, De La was one of the first groups that embraced me, and they put me on a record called The Business, and that was like life-changing for me. So that's my family. I was staying at Mace's crib. This my fam. So when Dave died, it hit me. And I was also listening to a lot of De La, and that was inspiring me too, because they just always been free with their music. But so we basically almost done with the album, but the song that Pasta Noose is on, Peter created the beat, but at one point it was De La's beat. It was De La. They were working on an album together that Pete and Primo was producing for De La.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah. And Dave passed. So Pete sent me the beat, and he was like, man, this is De La's beat. I'm not sure. But I just ended up writing to it, and I got the hook idea to it.
Once you wrote to it, he was like, man, I need this.
I need it. I was like, come on. And then, so when we were about to master the album, I'm like, Pete, we gotta talk to Paz. And Paz was like, man, that's our beat, man. We that's De La beat. And I was like, damn, I'm gonna have to get this song up. Pete was like, I'm gonna make you another one. I was like, damn, it ain't gonna be this beat. And then 5 minutes later, Pete hit me and said, Paz said you could have the beat. I said, nah, let me call Paz. I called him, and he said, yo, Ross, you could have the beat, bro. And I was like, nah. He was like, if it's anybody putting that music out there, we want you out there with it. So you can have the beat. And I was like, no, I want you on this song. And then he was like, yo, I'm down, like I'm with this. He was actually about to leave New York to go do something. He went in the studio that wrote that night, went in the next morning and blessed it. So It was kind of like a divine order that he was the MC that was gonna be on the album, Paz, because they, like I said, they influenced me a lot and influenced this album.
How far down the road did y'all get with the De La album? You and Premier?
Well, they had at least 2 beats that they were writing to. Paz would tell you, like, and Dave was the one that was like, that one.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And, and then picked another beat, and then picked that one that we have.
Yeah. Yo, I think, to be honest, I think y'all got, because Paz played me at least about 4 or 5 joints that y'all got crazy.
I'm just remembering the ones that they really went crazy over.
Yeah.
But I gave them like 6, 7 beats.
See, that's like one of them hip hop what ifs. I'm a Marvel guy, so I love the what
too.
if. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, damn, what if?
Yep.
What if he don't pass and we get the De La album produced by Premier and Pete Rock?
Yep.
Oh my God.
Yep. I was doing half, he's doing the other half.
He a big Marvel dude, man. Like that's
big time. I be seeing you.
Absolutely. I gotta put that
what
up
you
there.
Think about the new Cap coming and Deadpool. I'm waiting for that.
Oh, I can't wait for Deadpool and Wolverine.
That got me excited.
My last question, we saw Meth recently. He said that he realized that there's a generation gap is just too wide for him. He don't want to perform at Summer Jam no more. He just felt like the crowd was too young.
At certain concerts, younger concerts.
At certain concerts. Do y'all feel that way, and do you feel like there's not a home for OGs in hip hop? As far as not even just performing, but radio as well.
I don't feel that way. I feel that, like, man, music can prevail over any age. Like, I was listening to Michael Jackson and Stevie Wonder as a kid. I wasn't thinking about how old they were. I just loved the music. And my first concert was the Jacksons. And I was 8 years old watching them.
Wow.
And my point is, I think if we deliver the music that can touch them, they will respond. And I'm a believer, man. I love doing shows where people don't be really feeling me and I win them over. Man, I done seen people frowning up at me and like, man, I don't like this dude. And then I'm like, yo, I'm working. I like to work the crowd, like, and work them till they do believe. So, I mean, first of all, Meth, anybody need to respond to Meth, man. Them songs he got is
classic.
Classic. So,
Timeless.
That's my guy.
So,
Shout out to Meth.
New York.
Yeah. So
All I need was my wedding song.
man,
I danced on my wedding.
No doubt.
All I need remix.
No doubt.
come on,
All
bro.
I need,
That's
I'll
what I'm
be there for you.
So I mean, I think the one good thing is that I feel like a lot of that music is coming around again to the youngest. I remember doing a thing at Prairie State in Texas, and this shorty had on Low End Theory, a hoodie. Yeah, I was like, yo. I said, what you know about that? He's like, man, it's my favorite album, Low End Theory, Tribe Called Quest. I said, how old are you? He said, 19. I was like, yo.
He was taught.
This stuff, yeah, whoever introduced him, that's his music though now. So I feel like if we deliver music that has that soul and that timelessness, young people will respond, old people respond, people will respond.
Well, if you're looking for that, the Auditorium Volume 1 is out right now. Common and Pete Rock.
Let's play a joint off of there. Which y'all want here? Which one you want to get into?
First, bro?
Yeah, let's hear Fortunate, man.
I was going to say Let the Sun Shine again.
Okay.
We
Well, let's
just
get
spoke
into
on
it. We appreciate you brothers
Let's
for
do
joining
both.
us.
Yeah,
Okay,
all right. No
thank you,
problem.
yo.
No problem. Thank you.
Well, thank y'all for joining us. Pick up the album right now. The Auditorium Volume 1 is out right now. Common, Pete Rock.
Yes,
sir.
It's the Breakfast Club. Good morning.
Wake that ass up.
In the morning.
The Breakfast Club.